Babar is the first and the most charismatic of the Mughals of India. He established an empire which lasted about 300 years and was a world power in 16th and 17th centuries. He had great ancestry from Taimur and Genghis Khan. He was born on 14th of February 1488 in Fergana. He is a great literary figure of Turki language. He also described his life in an autobiography which is known around the world as open, frank, and down to earth description by a monarch. In Andijan, his house has been rebuilt and preserved as a museum. A gate leads to a courtyard which has a statue of Babar and a small garden. There are rooms with verandas all around. Zahiruddin Babar is a previous mayor of Andijan who has played a key role in developing the memories of Babar in Andijan. South of city on a way to Kush is another Bagh, a Babar, which is spread over the hillside and also has a library where Zahiruddin has collected books about Babar from across the world.
شاهی زمان سرزیله حافظی بیچاره من بنده من حافظی بیچاره من بنده من
Sir is the main river of Fergana on which also lies the ruins of Aksi, which used to be the capital of Babar's father Umar Sheikh Mirza. It is from here that Umar Sheikh Mirza flew from his pigeon house and according to Babar became a falcon. About 50 kilometers from Andijan is the beautiful little town of Kush, which Babar describes lavishly. It has a mountain in the center which Babar describes as Barako. He built a baradari here of which there is no evidence now. In the museum at Kush can be found pheasants which Babar describes in his Waqai as they used to be so big that 4 people could not finish one. In another museum in the town in Asfara, There is a painting which shows the Tower of Skulls, known locally as Kala Minar. Kujan is another town which Babar describes. It has a mausoleum of Sheikh Muslihuddin, who is a great Sufi of the region during the period when Genghis Khan's forces took Kujan. This is in Tajikistan now. The capital of Uzbekistan is Tashkent, which is part of the city, is quite modern. In the northwest part of the city is a mosque and library of Khost Imam, where the oldest Quran of Hazrat Usman is preserved, brought back from St. Petersburg. This is in Kufi script and of which photography is not permitted. Tashkent has a museum of Amir Taimur, who was the great-great-great-grandfather of Babar, whose life was an ideal for Babar's whole life. and he tried to copy Taimur in every aspect. This is a newly constructed museum in the main town with a garden where Taimur is riding a horse. The heroes in Uzbekistan now are Taimur, Ali Sher Nawai, Ulugh Beg, and Babar. But there was a time when heroes used to be Stalin and Lenin. Now Lenin lies in a corner. A center has also been established for Babar called International Babar Fund, which is being renovated.
Nima degan programma?
Yo'q, programmada Toshkentda biron kun bo'lmas ekanda. Kechasi qaytib kelib ertadan chiqib ketadi. Andijonda qachon bo'lishi ma'lum?
Chunki juma kuni boraman dedilar, shanba kuni partiya bor ekan.
Amir Sher Ali Nawai is another hero of Turki language which has a large museum in Tashkent. He was a great Turki poet who Babar has commented on in his work. Saeed Hassan Beg is the author who has worked on Babarnama, and so is Ansaruddin. Tashkent also has a mausoleum of Yunus Khan, who used to be Babar's Nana, which is now inside a university. A great town of historical importance is Samarkand, near which is the mausoleum of Hazrat Ismail Bukhari and of Sahih Bukhari, who collected all the ahadith. It is a large complex with a mausoleum, mosque, and tourist center. The second great personality of Samarkand is Khwaja Ehrar, Babar's spiritual guide and peer, who lies buried in the south of Samarkand. His grave is open to sky on a platform and has 3 mosques constructed in various periods. The most recent one is a simple mosque where prayers are performed. Samarkand is most famous for Gore Amir, which is the mausoleum of Amir Taimur, the dome which is world famous as it is the establishment of a new style which culminated in the dome of Taj Mahal. Samarkand has a number of madrasas which are lavishly decorated. One is Sherdor Madrasa, where now is preserved the lifestyle of 15th century, including the musical instruments, a sample of which follows. The center of town is called Registan. It has two madrasas and a mosque. The figures on one of the madrasa shows a lion catching a deer in the daylight, depicting students trying to catch knowledge. The skyline of Samarkand shows a number of domes and old buildings which have survived. The Museum of Samarkand has many treasures like paintings, portraits, graphs, and a lead coffin of Amir Taimur. The road to Shahrisabz is beautiful through the mountains and where there was snow even in March. As you descend down from the pass, the whole valley is green and beautiful. Amir Tamur wanted to make Shahrisabz as his capital. He has left his mark in the remains of a castle. Near Bukhara is the mausoleum of Khwaja Bahauddin Naqshband, the great Sufi Pir of Naqshbandi order. Naqshbandis has such a strong binding that KGB failed to penetrate the inside circle of Naqshbandis in the Soviet era. The mausoleum is surrounded by graves of Shehbanis, who were the classical rivals of Babar and Tamuris. Bukhara still has many non-working madrasas, bazaars, and statue of Mullah Nasruddin, who is famous for his sense of humor. Bukhara is famous for this strange minar called Kala Minar, which is 47 meters tall. Genghis Khan was dumbfounded looking at it and ordered that it should not be destroyed, though he destroyed the whole city of Bukhara. The castle or Arq was the last bastion of Muslim power in Central Asia, where Amir ruled until 1920 when the Russians bombed it. Babar describes Bukhara as a vilayat or a peripheral town of Samarkand. Babar was destitute in his land because of infighting between brothers, cousins, and uncles. He decided to leave his country and look for greener pastures. His luck changed when he entered the present Afghan Turkestan and the local ruler Khusro Shah submitted to him, kneeling before him without a fight. Crossed the great river Amu on a raft and landed in the wide fields of Afghan Turkestan, and this bridge of friendship, contrary to its name, is the bridge through which Soviet forces invaded Afghanistan in 1988. Kunduz is a town which lies in the east of Afghanistan, which has many memories of Babar. In it, he stayed after his retreat from Samarkand. It is here that he met his sister after 10 years of separation. The castle here was a stronghold of Khusro Shah, but now lies in ruins as a mound of mud where you are asked to follow the sheep tracks only, as mines are everywhere. When Babar passed by the side of Balkh, Balkh was already a destroyed town due to massacre by Genghis Khan. Doshi is a small, dusty town at a meeting place of two rivers, Andrab and Surkhab, where the luck of Babar changed. He sat down below a chinar tree for submission of Khusro Shah. The onward journey was the great barrier of Hindu Kush, which he had to cross to reach Kabul. Salang Pass in Hindu Kush is the mountain pass now frequently used and is covered in snow most part of the year. As you descend down the Salang Pass, you reach Estalif, the beautiful hill town, whole of which is like a garden with trees, hills, and running water. Babar has described Estalif lavishly. He used to sit here under the chinar trees and enjoy the scenery. Babar lived in Kabul for 22 years, and it is here that he lies buried on a hillside known as Bagh-e-Babar, and the present government is trying to develop this as a tourist site. Among the garden, a pavilion is present which does not appear to be the right sort of period when the garden was developed and is out of place and needs to be demolished. A pink wall has been constructed around the graves of Babar and his relatives where repair work is being carried out. Nearby is a marble mosque of Shah Jahan, which has been repaired rather shoddily, and Shah Jahan must be turning in his grave at the quality of the work done here. River Kabul passes through the city, but its misuse has turned it into a drain here, though later on when the rivers join in, it does become bigger and cleaner river. Small lakes, ponds, hills are all around Kabul, and Babar used to love them and has described them in his book. There is a spring on the hill still active, which is described by Babar as Chashma-e Khwaja Khizr. Chashma-e Khwaja Khizr still has clean, cold water. Babar described a Qadam Sharif here which is not there anymore. While passing from Kabul to Hindustan, Babar used to stay in his garden, Bagh-e-Wafa, which he describes southwest of present Jalalabad. This area still has lot of citrus fruit. The garden, he says, was between the castle and a river he names Surkhrud, which still runs here. Crossing over to the Indian subcontinent, he passed through the famous pass called Khyber Pass, which is still an active part of the trade route of that part of the world, ending at Torkham. In the present land of Pakistan, he passed from Bajor and crossed river Sindh at Nilab to describe in the north of Punjab salt mines which are still present and active, and further south he established a garden called Bagh-e-Safa. Babar has been thinking of taking India for a long time. He went to India first in 1504, and since then he repeatedly invaded various parts of the northwest of India, increasing his relations with the local rulers and even getting married in the Yusufzai Pathans until he was ready to invade in 1525. Babar has already established his overlordship in Punjab by that time, and the great hindrance was Ibrahim Lodi in Agra, who he met at Panipat. This Maidan of Panipat has now been converted to a tourist site, and plaque has been put in describing the details of the encounter in the ground where the battle was held. The Lashkar of Babar also established a mosque and a garden which is known as Kabli Bagh Mosque.
मैं अभी कहीं और चला 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 अभी तो आई रहा
साइकिल से गया था ना, तो साइकिल छोड़ दिया, लेके आ जाएंगे वो।
आपने बोल दिया तो लेके आ जाएंगे।
Ibrahim Lodi, the defeated king, lies buried in the town of Panipat in a simple grave on the platform.
आया ही नहीं, गाय सामने लगा ही रहता है, लेकिन परेशानी में भी सब देखना पड़ता है जिसको। चलो ठीक है, अब तो वही है।
He quickly covered 80 kilometers to Delhi. He was surprised at the huge variety of birds and bees of India and describes the fauna and flora of India in his books. He camped by the side of Jamna river and visited Delhi, including Qutb, Dargah Nizamuddin and Qutb Sahib, and he saw 2 pounds called Hauze Khas and Hauze Shamsi, but did not stay in Delhi or describe the sites, as the center of the government at the time was in Agra. There lied another threat to his lordship. He met Rana Sanga at Khanwa and defeated him and established himself in India. He constructed Bagh-e-Fatah or Garden of Victory near Fatehpur Sikri, where you can still see his Jal Mahal or water palace and of red stone and the remains of a baradari. He also established a step well called Bauli, which is still present. In and around Agra, he established gardens. There in Agra is a little known Babri mosque, which is being repeatedly repaired and reconstructed. In one of the gardens which is still survive is a char bagh which is called Gul Afshan and has a planning of a char bagh. Another garden, one building still survives called Chaw Burj, where his body was kept for 16 years before it was moved to Kabul. Near Agra in Dholpur, he established another garden called Bagh-e-Nilofar, where he ordered an octagonal pond to be dug in a solid rock which is still present. He has described Gwalior lavishly, and he has mentioned Ghaus Gwaliari, a Sufi of the Shattari Silsila, twice in Waqai. This is a building which has been established by Akbar, and in the grounds of the building there is the tomb of Tan Sen, who was the singer of Akbar the Great. In the city of Gwalior, there is a large castle which he described lavishly. These are the buildings which are still present and is of the Man Singh and Vikramadjit, the local Rajas who were at the time ruling Gwalior. also describes a small valley of Arwa, which is on the west side of the castle, where he saw Jaini statues and did not like them. Babar thus laid the ground which ultimately resulted in the construction of that great monument of love called Taj Mahal.